I need them. So first, we end the book of Judges. And what it says is how things were going there after the last of the judges. It says, there wasn't a king in Israel at that time, and everybody did what they thought was best. Does that sound like a good way for things to go? Well, depending on what they think is best, it could be great. If what they think is best is to be hard workers and loving family people and worshipers of God, that would be wonderful. Things would be great. Do you think that's what they did? Well, actually, we're actually going to see in the next time we talk one person who what they wanted to do was good. But I want to take today to kind of remind you where we are in the story, right? So we begin with God making everything, right? And then the first people sinned, so they ended up out in the world, and they eventually got to be so sinful that there was the flood, and only Noah and his family lived through the flood, right? With me so far? After the flood, then they got wicked again until God called a man named Abraham. And Abraham had a son named Isaac, and Isaac had a son named Jacob, and Jacob had 12 sons and a daughter, and they all went into Egypt, and they became a big nation that we call the Israelites because Jacob's other name was Israel. So we call them after him because he's the ancestor. And they eventually got out of Egypt because God sent Moses to lead them out, right? Remember Moses? Spent a lot of time on Moses. And Moses led them through the wilderness, the desert, for 40 years. And then eventually Moses died, and Joshua took over leading them. And they went into the promised land with Joshua. And then after Joshua died, we had all of the judges. All of this is leading up to who? Who's the big name that comes next? You? Good guess. But we aren't got quite to you yet. The big name that we're looking for, well, of course, Jesus comes, but who is Jesus? Who is his ancestor? David. And who's David? Do you know who David is? David is the king. He's the first good king of Israel. And that's why Jesus is his descendant, because he is the king too. So we're starting to do like the prequels for David. This is the backstory. And then, so next time we're going to talk about David's great, I think 3 greats, grandparents, who were living here at the time of the judges, and things happened. And it's interesting because his great-great-grandmother was not a Hebrew. She was a foreigner. But we'll talk about that next time. Which of you have these? Who got one? Show me your hands. If you got a passport, show me your hands. Okay. So any of you who didn't get the passport, talk to your teachers today, and they should be able to get you a passport, or you can just talk to me when you see me in coffee hour. You know what the passport is for? Okay. So the passport has inside of it all of the different services that we can go to during Lent, all of the different things we can do during Lent. And your teachers up in the classrooms, they have the stamps, the stickers. So it's like, have you ever traveled outside of the country? All right, when you go to Greece, they stamp your passport, and you still have it, and it shows that, hey, you went to Greece. This is the same thing. You get a stamp that says, oh, I went to pre-sanctified liturgy. I went to forgiveness vespers. I went to the Akathist hymn on Friday, or some of the other services. I went to confession. You can call me or have your parents call me. I'm doing confession all of Lent. It's nice and simple. You come in and you talk to the priest. These are the things that go in the passport. So it's kind of fun. You get a little bit of a road map, all the places you can go, and then you get a sticker when you go there. So if you don't have a passport, talk to me or the teachers in the Sunday school. Last thing. What day is today? St. Patrick's Day, that's right. Did you bring an icon of St. Patrick? That's a bummer. Anybody bring an icon of St. Patrick? That's okay. St. Patrick has a big beard and he's wearing green. So you've seen one bishop, you've seen them all. As a joke. All the bishops are different. But St. Patrick is a bishop, and he went to Ireland, and he's a saint. But today is, why did you bring your icon? It's Icon Sunday. That's right. And what's the other name for Icon Sunday? The Sunday of Orthodoxy. It's in your passport if you look. Icon Sunday, well, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Icon Sunday is the day that, actually, we aren't going to talk about it. We're just going to do the procession. Icon Sunday is the day that they brought the icons back into the churches because there was a period of about 200 years where they thought that the icons were bad. So they took all of them down, and then they thought, you know, the icons show us that God is really real. So that's probably a good thing. And they brought them back, to be very, very simple about it. So today is the Sunday of Orthodoxy, which means after you take communion, this is important, I'm giving you marching orders. After you take communion, you are not going to go to Sunday school. You are going to go and find a seat in the pews here, or you can just stand over by the wall. Older kids, if you would, stand by the wall so that the younger kids can sit in the pews. And then, when it's time for the procession to start, the altar boys are going to come out, and I'm going to come out, and after I go past, all of you are going to follow. So, who am I going to ask to be in charge of following? Vasilia, Sophia? The two of you can tell when I've gone past. I want all of the other kids to follow you, okay? Any of the other kids in Sunday school, Vasiliki, Soteria, you can come in as well. So, stand over there. The four girls, everyone else follow them. When you start going behind me, because I'm the last one, then we go. Teachers, you can help too. We're going to go all around the church, and we're going to end up here, which is the other thing I need you all to do. Okay? Again, Vasiliki, Soteria, Vasilia, Sophia. When we get to the front, teachers, you can pay attention too. When we get to the front, I'm going to be in the middle with the gospel. The altar boys will be to either side. But all of the kids, you need to come up and take your place. Stand in front of the altar boys. Fill the space there. And then we will all say the proclamation of orthodoxy together. So, you have to push the kids a little bit. But I told you so that they won't have to push you, right? You know what to do? We go around the church, and at the end, you all go up and stand in the front. So don't stop and wonder where you're supposed to go. You're supposed to stand in front of the altar boys. Sound good? All the way around. So, for now, let's stand up and receive Holy Communion. Metaphobo Theopistius que agapis prosertite, with the fear of God, with faith and